Good morning, guys. Good day. Good evening, depending on your time difference between you and I. Today, I'll discuss something that happened to me yesterday. I had a conversation with an acquaintance of mine, someone that I know loosely, and there was a point in the conversation where we discussed something that threw me off a bit, and I decided to speak about it today. So, basically, it's about changing faces every time when you are in a different environment or when you are faced with a different personality and different character that you meet. Example, code switching is the term being used nowadays when you enter into a scenario or an environment and you become a different person based on how you want to interpret the situation, or depending on what you want to gain from said situation. My bad, I have a stammer, so yeah. So, see, I just did that. I want to cater to the audience by being a better orator than I am. I know I have a stutter, something, and it's a part of my character, and it shouldn't be taken as a fault. It should only be taken as it's who I am, and it comes with the package, right? So, lying to yourself to only be accepted momentarily by someone is cause for long-term self-hate, right? Um, it can be a survival mechanism, a coping mechanism, but at the end of the day, it's something that only brings a negative outcome, because how often can you keep up the face, the facade, right? In I'm a huge fan of Asian culture. I think I've expressed that a lot of times already. So like in Asian culture, there's this philosophy of the three faces, right? Or the three masks rather. The mask that you you show to society, the mask that you show to your family, and the mask you, that is actually your natural mask that is not altered or configured or augmented towards any situation, which is just your raw and unfiltered self. The thing about pretending and masking, changing your personality or lying to yourself to only be accepted momentarily, is that you're going to have to keep up with that lie. You're going to have to keep up with the character you created, even when sometimes you might not be up for it. You won't even know how to set a boundary, because your boundary doesn't correlate with the character you have allowed to be taken, to be accepted as by other people. You know what I'm saying? Um, it will only cause, in the long run, it will only cause strain, mental strain, because at any given moment, your sincere and authentic self has to be pushed aside in order for you to advance in whatever relationship or whatever momentum you've currently set yourself on, whatever pace you've currently set yourself on, right? You find yourself being questioned and um being challenged, when the challenge is against yourself and not the facade character that you have put in front of you. And then usually you be caught in between those two characters, and the one that is actually yourself has to be sacrificed in order to uphold the the one that's been played played to be the one that's been played to be as yourself. And that can cause, I think, can cause a mild I can say mild schizophrenia or mild identity crisis to some, when they'll often ask themselves, why am I dealing with these things in life? Why is my life so challenging? You forget that no, it's not challenging you, it's challenging your created avatar. Jim Carrey once touched on this. Jim Carrey once said something explaining what depression is. He said depression is deep rest. Deep rest. He split the word into two, and he said you're only depressed because you get depressed because you want to take a deep rest from the exterior character that you created. When you're so tired of living in that facade, you want to take a deep rest from it. So the depression comes from your soul or your spirit or your authentic self saying, no, I want to rest from this. I'm tired. I'm tired of being fake. I'm tired of this facade. This pretentious person that I am taking out to the world is not me, and I don't want it to sustain itself, because it sustaining itself only feeds off of me, right? And I can't keep on feeding something that doesn't benefit me. It takes, it doesn't give. It might give monetary gain, societal gain. It might give things that are existent, that are external to you, but then it takes more from your internal self. And the giveaway, the give what's the word, the trade-off is not the trade-off doesn't break even to what you have given in, if that makes sense, right? And how do you do that? How do you break away from that? Well, you set standards. You set standards that apply to self. You set standards, right? And standards that apply to self need not be explained to people around you. That's something that also occurred in the conversation that I had yesterday. We were talking about, then remember in the conversation I was conflicted because I couldn't find the right words to express something or to properly articulate what I wanted to say. And then the person I was talking to asked me, why do you need proper words or English or whatever to speak? And I told him that that's the standard that I've set to myself. I want to be articulate. I don't just want to speak haphazardly and just draw from like inconsequential words and statements that do not speak purposefully to what I'm trying to exhibit or like take out, right? Because my standards are to myself. I'm not trying to impress anyone. However I speak, however I hold myself, however I carry myself is not out of a need to be validated by someone else. It comes from a need to only sustain the standards that I've set in myself. I walk the way I walk, I talk the way I talk. I like what I like because it aligns itself with the values that I hold to my life, right? And that is what is needed for someone to start breaking away from these feelings of existential crisis, of self identity crisis, feelings of incompetency when it comes to being authentic. It's by building standards that align with your values and upholding them, and not needing to explain. Sometimes you don't need to dignify people's comments and rationalities with a response. You just need to let them have their own deliberation about you, about whatever you're saying. Because in this world, you know, it's good to be okay. The standards that you set are yours, right? They need not be explained, right? Because it's good to be aloof. I think It's good to be aloof and ambiguous, as there are different versions of you in everyone's head, right? People people have different versions of you in their heads, right? Like in my vicinity, everyone, I think everyone has the people have their own little set definitions of who I am. I believe I have definitions of who they are, which I could never pin down and be like, I understand you fully. I only understand the little extracts that I have gained from you, that you have allowed me to analyze, right? There's so many things that comes to that comes from a person. There's like a person is a collage, right? We've seen a collage, right? Or a collage that once you look away from it, we've seen those collages that like they it's a mural of a painting, but then when you look closely, it's like just tiny little different pictures that are all different, but they make up the whole picture, right? That's what a person is to me, and we are given just tiny little little pieces of it that we hardly know the full thing. So hence why I say it's good to be aloof and ambiguous, as there are different versions of you in people's heads, right? If I come an example, like if I enter a room, um the way I speak to this person will be different to the way I speak to that person, will be different to the way I speak to that person, will be different to the way I speak to this person. Because even if I have the same, even if I speak the same way, people don't see the same thing, right? People don't see the same thing. Um, like there's this thing like what you see is what you get. I won't lie. I would add on to that. What you see is what you see. You get what I'm saying? I can never get the full picture of someone, even if you are your most authentic self. I myself can never really get to see the full picture. Hence why I'm saying being ambiguous, being ambiguous, being hard to trace is something that I openly vouch for. Being mysterious, not being able to be pinned down by anything that I set myself to also, because I am an ever changing landscape, right? You are an ever changing landscape. You are always growing. You are always evolving. You're always finding depth to your design, depth to your design, details that only as you brush the layers, as you know peel the layers of the onion, you know, metaphorically speaking, you find depth to your character, depth to your design. Therefore, who you were yesterday who you were yesterday can be miles off who you are today, right? Therefore, being ambiguous, for me, I vouch for it, because I can't set a character to myself. I can only be authentic to who I am at any point in time. I can only be I can only apply myself or align myself with the standards that I hold to myself, whatever they may be at that certain point. You get what I'm saying? And that's my message to you today. Be your authentic self, whatever that may be. Allow yourself to change, allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to be enigmatic, right? Yeah. Be ambiguous. You know what I'm saying? Don't don't drag yourself down to a position that you created out of necessity, because sometimes we do that. We create personalities that fit what we were going through at that point, be it survival, be it communal. Sometimes we even hold on to things that we hold on to a character that gave us happiness at some point, to avoid being evolving into a character you're going to require to go through hardships, because sometimes you won't need that happy-go-lucky person that you were in order to go through the hells of the world. You're going to need that warrior energy to go through what a warrior needs to go through. You know what I'm saying? Again, with like my Asian philosophies and culture, there's this saying by, I think it's I forgot. I don't want to butcher the name out of respect. Miyazaki Musashi. Nah, that's not him. Musashi. I think that's his name. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he said, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. You know what I'm saying? It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. I take it as, you know, evolve with yourself, grow, and take everything that you've learned and move with it. Don't be stuck in any part of your life, because your authenticity is what got you to become a warrior. Your authenticity is what got you to be a warrior in a garden. Your authenticity is what keeps on allowing you to change and allowing you to set your standards, not your facade. Your facade will stay as it is because it has found formulas that work. But you yourself, you aren't an equation. Therefore, there's no perfect formula for you except for you being you. Einstein says the greatest change is the only constant in life, right? Change is the only constant, and for me, authenticity is change, right? So yeah, that's my little 2 cents for today. I wanted to speak it. I literally had nothing to talk about today, but then I remember they're like, oh yeah, Ghana. There was this thing that was going through my head the whole day, from yesterday to today, because, excuse me, it got me thinking that like there's so many people who deal with that, who find themselves, some aren't even aware that they're doing it until it's too late. Some are aware of it, but they often tell themselves that it's a necessity to overcome whatever they're going through. And it saddens me that we're living in a world where it has become common for us to be it has become common for us to um it has become common for us to pretend in order to gain success. You know what I mean? Fake it till you make it. Society like that, for me, uh, only breeds either self-hate or external hate. Some people will show hate and conflict and aggression to people who don't do things like that, who don't play in that realm, just because they have an envy. They have an envy of someone who's very comfortable and secured in themselves and doesn't need to placate anyone's feelings, doesn't need to maneuver through this world of mazes for any reason. They are good with just them being them and they are sorted. So it saddens me that like this world that we live has allowed for that kind of personalities and character traits to rule and be the ones that are celebrated and 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 remunerated. So just a little something to think of. Be your authentic self. Stay grounded in your standards and allow yourself to be as ambiguous as you can, or rather as ambiguous as you are, right? And other than that, live life, and yeah, have a good one. Bye.